Welcome my lovely students. In this video, we are going to focus on Science Paper 2 for the 2024 for the GCE. And in this video, our focus will be on section A that contains 20 questions, and you are given 4 choices, of which you are required to make a choice. So you need to first have an answer in your brain, then you look at the multiple choices, then you look at the answer from the multiple choices, correlating with the answer that you have. So let's have a look at the first question. Which branch of chemistry would a grade 12 learner intending to become a pharmacist study? So a pharmacist has to deal with drugs. So we are looking at the formation of drugs and also looking at how the structure of a drug is based on the characteristic of a disease. Now we have analytical chemistry, we have biochemistry, we have organic chemistry and physical chemistry. So you need to know these branches of chemistry. So the best one that can be used to deal with pharmacists, since we are looking at the structure, formation, then how elements are bonded to each, we are going for organic chemistry. We move on to question number 2. Which of the following shows the correct basic unit of matter contained in the stated substances? So there are 3 basic units of matter. We have ions, atoms, molecules. So these are the 3 basic units of matter that you are supposed to know. So if you look at the multiple choice A, we have boron. So boron is an element, therefore boron is made up of atoms. So A is not an answer. B, mercury, molecules. No, this is not an answer. C, methane. Methane is a compound with the chemical formula CH4, and this one does not contain atoms. So we are going with the D, which is anion. It is made up of atoms. We can now go to question number 3. The following diagrams shows volumetric apparatus. Which apparatus measures only, so the key is about approximate volumes of liquid. So it's also very important you commit to memory the structure of these apparatuses and also what they measure. Is it fixed? Is it accurate? Is it you need to know, is it for mixing? So based on the structure, you are supposed to know the type of apparatus that you are given. So we have burette, we have measuring cylinder, we have pipette, we have conical flask. So from these 3 structures or 3 apparatuses, the one that deals with an approximate, like an estimation, is this one. We go to question number 4. Question number 4. Which mixture can be separated into its components by adding water? So when we add water and stir, so here we need to understand that there is a substance that is going to dissolve. Then after dissolving, this substance will form a solution. Then the second point is filtering. Whenever they have mentioned the word filtering or filtration, we need to know that there will be another substance that will be insoluble. Insoluble is a substance that does not dissolve in water and therefore will remain on the filter paper. For example, if we have this as our illustration, this is our funnel, then we have the filter paper. So if we are to pour this mixture here, the soluble one, the one that dissolved, will pass through this filter paper and collected as filtrate. Then the insoluble one, excuse me, the insoluble will remain on the filter paper. So that is the point. So from the given multiple choices, we are supposed to look at the substance that can dissolve and the substance that will not dissolve, of which we know that sodium chloride is the table salt that we use, and that table salt can dissolve. Then iron will not dissolve, therefore we'll go for answer A. move on to question number 5. An atom of element R has the electronic configuration 2,8,3. Which of the following statements about element R is correct? So first, before we come up with the answer, since this element has 3 electrons in its outermost shell, therefore this element is a metal. So since it's a metal, if it is going to form an ion, we are expected to have a positive 3. Remember, metals tends to beat by giving an electron or electrons. So therefore, the giving is denoted by a positive sign. So whenever you see a negative sign, it simply means it gained. So multiple choice number A forms an ion of negative 3. This is not possible unless if it was a non-metal. B forms an ion with the electronic structure of neon. So forms an ion with, so it means that if these 3 electrons were given out, how many electrons will remain? So we are going to have 2,8. So if you look at the atom of neon, neon has the number of electrons equal to 10. So if we make the electron configuration, we are going to have 2,8. And as we can see, we have 2,8. Therefore, we'll go with multiple choice B. Question number 6. Identify the diagram in which a pure element is in a solid state. So solid state, the particles must be packed, closely packed, number 1. Then for pure, a pure element is an element or a substance with only one kind of atom. So if you look at multiple choice number A, this is not the answer. Number 1, the particles are spaced packed. Then also it's a compound because we have these atoms represented by larger circles and the smaller circle. Then for B, we have this is a gas. Then for C, if you look at C, we have the particles that are closely packed. And if you look at these particles, they are of the same nature. And since they are of the same nature, therefore, this one represents a pure element that is in a solid state. Therefore, this is our answer D. Yes, it is in a solid state, but it's not pure because we have a combination of different atoms. We move on to question number 7. Which of the following pairs of compounds would react together to form an insoluble salt? So to make an insoluble salt, number 1, you need to know that you are supposed to have a soluble salt plus another soluble salt or soluble substance, then giving you an insoluble salt plus a soluble salt. So we are supposed to choose 2 soluble salts from the given multiple choices that can give us an insoluble salt. So let's say, for example, we go for lead sulfate. So lead sulfate is an example of an insoluble salt. So how can we prepare a lead sulfate? We are going to choose 2 reactants. One must have a lead ion and the other one must have a sulfate ion. But we have to make sure that the 2 reactants that we are going to choose must have or must be in a soluble state. So here the answer is C, because sodium sulfate is an example of a soluble salt. Lead nitrate is also an example of a soluble salt. Remember, all nitrates are soluble. So here we are going to have a double displacement. Sodium will displace lead, giving us sodium nitrates, which is a soluble salt. Then the lead will take the sulfate, giving us lead sulfate, which is an insoluble salt. Question number 8. A given sample solution was tested for the presence of an ion using dilute hydrochloric acid. If effervescence was observed, predict the ion present in the sample solution given. So this topic is where we look at the quantitative analysis, where you need to look at how to identify the ion. Now, based on what we are taught here, we can use the carbonate ion. So we are going with A. Then question 9 is all about calculate the relative formula mass of ammonium phosphate. So we are going to say Mr. is equal to, so whenever you have a subscript like this number 3 here on the outside of a given parenthesis, this number must multiply by everything inside, which simply means that you say N times 3 plus we go to hydrogen, multiply by, since there is a 4 inside here, you multiply with the subscript here. So 4 times 3 must give us a 12 plus phosphorus times there is a 1 atom of phosphorus plus oxygen multiplied by 4. So the mass number for nitrogen is 14 plus hydrogen is 1 plus phosphorus is 31 plus the oxygen is 16 by 4. So if we multiply 14 by 3, I'm getting 42 plus 1 by 12 is 12, 31 by 1 is 31 plus 16 times 4 is 64. So 42 plus 12 plus 31 plus 64, I'm getting 149. So this is my answer, which is, our answer is D. So we go to question number 10. Question number 10 is all about more concept as well. So limestone, calcium carbonate, decomposes to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide when strongly heated. Given that 500 grams of limestone was decomposed, calculate the mass of calcium oxide produced. So step number 1, write a balanced chemical equation. So we are looking at a decomposition reaction. So CaCO3 decomposes. So when a metal carbonate like this one decomposes, it will give us products like calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. You don't have to worry about balancing this equation. This equation is already balanced. So our focus will be on the substance whose mass is given and the one whose mass we are looking for. So 500 grams is for limestone. So it simply means that the calcium carbonate has a mass of 500 grams. Then which substance are we solving for? So calculate the mass of calcium oxide. So where there is calcium, I can just put X. Then after this is done, we need to find the mixture for calcium carbonate. So we say mixture is equal to, from calcium carbonate there is 1 atom of calcium, so you say calcium by 1 plus carbon also by 1 plus oxygen times 3. So calcium has a mass number 40 times 1 plus 12 times 1 plus 16 by 3. 40 times 1 is 40, 1 by 12 is 12, 16 by 3 is 48. 48 plus 12 is 60 plus 40. So the mixture for calcium carbonate is 100. So I'm going to put 100 here. Then we need to find the mixture for calcium oxide. So from calcium oxide, we have 1 atom of calcium plus 1 atom of oxygen, which is 40 by 1 plus 16 times 1, which is 40 plus 16, giving us 56. So here 56. So every information for calcium is written on the side where calcium is, calcium carbonate is, so is calcium oxide. Then at this stage, I'm just going to cross multiply. So 100 times X will give me 100X. Then here we're going to have 500 grams times the 56 over 100 over 100. So we can cancel. We cancel. So 5 times 6 is 30. We keep the 3. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 3 is 28. So 280 grams is our answer, which is C. Question number 11. So 11, the following graph was obtained when powdered calcium carbonate of equal volume was reacted with HCl of different concentration. Identify the graph which represents the reaction between powdered calcium carbonate and hydrochloric acid of the highest concentration. So we have 4 reactions denoted by A, B, C, and D. So the question is same as which reaction was the fastest. So if you look at this graph, the fastest reaction, if you are given a question like this one, is the reaction which is closer to the y-axis. So which one is closer to the y-axis is reaction A, because if you go in the x-axis, this will give you, for example, if you have time, this will show you that it's a reaction that occurred in a short period of time, but yielding the same amount of product. So the key point is the fastest is the one closer to the y-axis, the slowest is the one far away from the y-axis. Question 12. How does a catalyst increase the rate of a chemical reaction? It does this by, so for a reaction to start to take place, there should be a small amount of energy that should be there. And this amount of energy that works or that ignites a reaction is what we call the activation energy. So now, how does the catalyst increase? So it does that by lowering activation energy. Question 13. Identify the correct electronic configuration of an element used to treat water. So we are looking at chlorine. So chlorine Cl has the mass number of 35.5, the atomic number of 17. So first shell will occupy 2 electrons. So from 17 minus 2 we have 15. The second shell will occupy 8. 15 minus 8 is 7. So the outermost shell will occupy 7. Therefore, the answer is C. Question number 14. The following diagrams show different experimental setups used to investigate the conditions necessary for corrosion of iron metal to occur. Predict the experimental setup in which the iron nail will corrode the fastest. So there may be 2 or more where corrosion can occur, but we want where it will be fastest. So the first one, this is not possible because on top we can see a layer of oil. So what is the layer of oil doing? So this one is preventing oxygen from entering into the boiling tube. Now, it's very also important to understand what are the conditions necessary for corrosion. So, number 1, you need atmospheric oxygen. The second one, you need water, which is, we can say, moisture. So water previously boiled water. So water is there, but there is no oxygen due to layer of oil. For D, we can see that we have dry cotton wool. So since it's dry, it simply means that there is no moisture. Now for B and C, there is water here and the boiling tube is open, which tells us that oxygen is able to enter through this. C is also the same as B, but the difference is C the water is salty, which simply means that in C there is salt. So in these two tubes, corrosion will take place, but which one of the two will there be a fastest corrosion? So the answer is C, because the presence of salt makes the corrosion to be the fastest. We can go to question number 15. In which of the following pair of reactants will displacement reaction take place? So for a displacement reaction to occur, there should be a more reactive element than the other. So the first one is our answer. Why? Magnesium. Magnesium is in group 2, aluminium is in group 3. And if you use the reactivity theory, you'll be able to see, and it will help you and guide you how to deal with this one. So magnesium is more reactive than aluminium. It can displace this one. We go to question number 16. The diagram shows the collection of gas T during its production. What interpretation can be drawn for the method of collection of the gas it? So if you look at this gas, number 1, we can't see water. Therefore, this gas must be soluble. So now, what else are we supposed to see? If you look at the way the delivery tube is, the delivery tube is pointing upward, which simply means that this gas is able to go up. So if it is able to go up, it simply means that the air here will go down. So the air is more denser than this gas, which simply means that the gas itself is less denser. As a result, it's able to go up. So whenever the gas goes up, it's less denser. Whenever the gas goes down, it's more denser. That's the key. So the answer here is C. It is less denser than air. Question number 17. Why is hydrogen referred to as a clean fuel? So a clean fuel is any fuel that can be able to burn in oxygen without polluting the environment. So the answer is B. The chemical compound which can best used to make hand sanitizer. So we know that hand sanitizer contains alcohol. So the chemical formula for general formula for this is CnH2n plus 1. Then the presence of this functional group hydroxide tells us that the compound is an alcohol. Now, if you look at A and D, there is OH also here, there is OH. But if you are to draw the structure, the one that is making sense is this one, because we can have like this structure. So as you can see, it's making sense. And this is ethanol, because we can combine the two carbon atoms, then we can combine these hydrogen 5, so C2H5OH is the molecular formula for ethanol. Number 19, large petroleum molecules undergo cracking. So to crack simply means to break a large molecule into smaller molecules which are more useful. What would be the product X when the hydrogen, this is cracked? So what you are supposed to know is the number of atoms of elements involved in the product undergoing cracking must be equal to the number of atoms of those in the product what is produced. So what we mean by this is that since there are 20 atoms of carbon in the reactant, there should be 20 atoms of carbon in these two products. Now in this product, there is 4. So 20 minus 4 is giving us 16. Now since there is a 2 here, it means that we have these 2x. So 2 is multiplying by x. So for you to come up with x, you just need to find half. So what is half of 16? 8. Which tells us that 2 times here that will be 8. we go to hydrogen. There are 42. 42 minus 10 is 30. 32 over 2, giving us 16, which tells us that we are going to have 16 atoms of hydrogen. So the molecular formula that we are looking at is CH16. Our answer is C. So make sure you preserve, or the number of atoms must be equal. We go to the last question. The diagram shows part of a polymer. So we have a polymer. Which of the following monomers would be used to form the polymer shown? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into 3 equal. So this is the first one. So this was the monomer used. Also, so this simply means that 3 monomers of these were used to make this polymer. So I'm going to get 1. So how is that structure drawn? So we have hydrogen, this hydrogen, this hydrogen. Now remember, the monomers must have a double bond, so I'm going to replace this single bond with a double bond. Then we have this chlorine, there is Cl here. Then there is hydrogen here. So this is the structure that we need. Now, when choosing the structure, make sure that the way the atoms are arranged must be the same. Therefore, the answer is A, because this is the hydrogen here, the hydrogen here. This is our hydrogen. This is our chlorine. So the arrangement must be the same. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.